Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Before we get started, we invite our Spanish speaking neighbors to join us by calling our interpretation line where they'll get simultaneous interpretation in Spanish. The phone number for that line is 646-749-3122. When they answer the call, please share the code for access, which is 779-328-221. Antes de comenzar, invito a nuestros vecinos de habla español que se unen a nosotros por medio de la línea de conferencia para recibir interpretación. El número de teléfono es 646-749-3122. Cuando le contestan su llamada, por favor compartan el código que es 779-328-221. You can see that we have the line on our screen as well as in our comment section. Welcome to the Fall 2022 Vote-A-Thon. Welcome to our neighbors, our followers, and especially our forum superfans, which we haven't seen for a while, but I got to see some of them in person recently, which was really exciting. My name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the Executive Director and Lead Organizer for Southside Organizing Center. Today, we want to thank you for allowing us to be with you during the fall general election to share our nonpartisan, which means we don't promote any political party or political candidate. We're providing you critical voting information, and we want to keep connected to you on this very important day. We've been trying to connect with all of our Southside neighbors through a couple of different mediums. We've been door to door, visiting your homes, calling you, and sending you texts. It's our goal to make sure we try to reach 25,000 folks, or 25,000, make 25,000 outreach attempts to reach our neighbors. This is approximately the number of households we have on the South Side, so that's always our goal of trying to do that. Our visits have included, and our phone calls have included a three-part contact. One is just to do a care call to check and see if there's any information or resources you need, or if you want to share anything else with us so that we can dig in together. The other part of that is just to check in to see if you have any questions about voting. And then the last part is sharing COVID information, including supplies like masks, sanitizers, door pulls. Listen, just like you all, I've been bombarded myself with all kinds of contacts this season. You know, the political calls, which I'm sure we're all nauseated about so far because of the quantity. The car warranty calls, the wanting to buy your home calls, and the scam calls. And so we're sorry if you're on communication overload. We understand. We hope, though, that the contacts that we have tried to make with you have been helpful. And we understand that it's frustrating. It's a frustrating time for you all. That's why we tried to keep those contacts short and then offer you incentives for your time. And so I want to just acknowledge that that's a heavy time for all of us. All right, folks, I can't tell who's here with us unless you leave a comment in the comment section. So please join us and then just say a quick hello. If you already voted, you could share what number voter you were at your poll too. That would be interesting to see. And then I'll say a hello if I see you there. I want you to feel welcome to ask any questions you have today about voting, but also to take advantage of all the really important opportunities we're going to offer you throughout the day. Let me tell you a little bit about SOC if you're new to us. This is we're entering our 33rd year of service to you in the community. And we happen to be the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on the South Side. I'm very honored to be leading the organization that has provided so much to this community. Let me share our mission with you, though, about what we do. We're neighborhood-based nonprofit organization, and we're really dedicated to the development and the sustainability of Milwaukee's near Southside neighborhoods. So we do that we work with our neighbors, which is grassroots organizing, and for our neighbors, which is the advocacy work that we do around a couple of things that you all have said is important consistently throughout SOC's existence, which is to make sure that neighbors have a safe, a livable, and an economically vibrant community. And so we're really committed to ensuring that neighbors have a voice in what happens here, a vote, and a vehicle to organize together to tackle any issues that affect them and make positive changes. And so I want to give you a sense about how this segment of the Vote-A-Thon is going. We've been with you all day. We started at 8, and then we had another segment at 10 and another segment at 12. And the 10 and 12-hour sessions were done by our youth. So that was super exciting. Alexis did an incredible job at her first run at a live hosting of a forum. And then we're going to be with you now at 2, and then we'll be back 2 more times at 4 and at 6. And so that's how the schedule for the day is going to go. And then the pattern of information, so you can pay attention to when the opportunities are coming up, and the information is that we're going to do a promotion of an opportunity for you to engage with us, and then we're going to share an interview. And then for the opportunities that we're offering for you to partner with us, for every opportunity that matches your interests or that you're willing to do, you get entered into a drawing. This is for our Southside neighbors. You get entered into a drawing for $50. There are 4 times you get that opportunity to enter a drawing for $50. And then there's 3 other ways you can be entered into a drawing for $25. Let me share what the boundaries of our district are. We're organizers of a geographic district. And so those are the limits of the work that we do. Those of you who don't live in our district are welcome to partner with us in all the other ways you can. But the promotions today are strictly for people who live within these district boundaries. So our district boundaries, on the north, it's Pierce Street. On the south, it's Oklahoma. On the east, it's First Street. And on the west, it's 43rd Street. And now what's called the Brewers Boulevard, which was formerly the Miller Parkway on the west. We're going to share all kinds of voting updates for you, and we'll answer questions. Before we get started, we want to invite you to our first opportunity, which is going to help us determine what our priorities are for the next couple of years. In order to do that, we need you to participate in our post-pandemic survey, and I'm going to ask Jinx to share that promotion with you now. Throughout today, we're going to have opportunities for you to engage with us. And so let me review the order. We're going to be sharing an opportunity and then interviewing a guest that is going to bring critical information and resources about the election today for you. And so it'll go an opportunity, an interview, opportunity, interview, opportunity, interview 4 times. And so the first one, and all of those opportunities are either surveys or invitations to register for an opportunity to get you engaged with the work that we do for you. And every opportunity that you engage in is going to enter you into a drawing for a $50 gift card. And that's only good today. So any surveys or registrations have to be completed today, Tuesday, November 8th. And then we'll do the drawing live on Facebook for each of those tomorrow. So we want to make sure that you dig in and get them in before midnight tonight. You're going, when I share the opportunity and explain it, you're going to see a slide that will show you a link and a QR code. We're also going to put the link and QR code in the comments. And so if you click on the link, it'll take you directly to the survey or the registration. And if you want to use a QR code, You take your camera and you place it over the QR code, and then it pops up. The QR code is a little square with a bunch of symbols, designs in it. And if you wait, it'll pop up a link, and like a button, a yellow button with a link. And if you press that, it takes you to the survey as well. So those are all different kinds of ways that you can fill those out. Sometimes you want to take a picture of the QR code because you can't do the survey right away. And you want to save it for later. So your options on however is most comfortable for you. So our first survey, we're embarking right now, we're starting on developing SOC's plan for the next couple of years. But it's super important that you let us know what's important to you, especially after the pandemic. We all know the pandemic made us really think hard about what's important to us and how we want to live. And so we don't want to assume life is the same as it was before the pandemic. And so we want to check in with you now on what are your top dreams? What are you and your family's top needs? We have a series of different community areas of action and service, and you'll be ranking those like this is somewhat important to me, not important to me, important to me, or very important to me. And really, that's going to guide where SOC puts its energy for the next couple of years for our neighbors who live with us on the South Side. So we invite you to fill out that survey. None of the surveys or registrations are long. They take less than 5 minutes. And so it shouldn't take a big sacrifice of time, but it does have a big impact. And so the post-pandemic survey, we'll put the slide up now. You'll see the link and you can start the survey now, or you can save the link and do it a little later. You'll see the QR code. And like I said, you can use that or save that to do that a little later. So we appreciate you in advance. We honor your time. That's why we're doing the drawing. And imagine if you did all the surveys today, you'd be entered into the first 4. So that's up to $200 opportunity to win. And it's right before the holiday, folks. So I know you could use some extra money. And then the last one is to like us on our social media platforms, and you can win a drawing for $25 for each of those. So please cooperate, and we want to be able to serve you and serve you as you see fit. Thank you. Just in case you're wondering, I don't have any magic abilities to like be in one background and then change to the other. This happens to be my work office, and I recorded that segment that you just saw, that portion of it from my home. You can let me know which office background you like better. That'll be interesting. Why don't you drop that in the comments? All right, folks, the polls are open from 7 to 8, 7 a.m. They started. You could vote starting 7 a.m. and it goes to 8. And then it only takes like 10 or 15 minutes to vote on a regular in any area on the South Side. At most, maybe you'll spend 30 minutes doing that. The other thing I want to make sure you know is if you're in line by 8 o'clock, they must let you vote. And if you have a problem voting, please call the ACLU voter hotline. For English speakers, that's 1-866-OUR-VOTE, 1-866-OUR-VOTE. For Spanish speakers, that's 1-888-VE-Y-VOTA, VE-Y-VOTA. What I'd like to do, and you can see that if you're feeling like, oh my goodness, Tammy, you're giving this information too quickly, don't worry about it. It's in the comments. So all of the promotions, all of the contact information you can find in our comments. What I'd like to do now is share with you like the Central Hub website for all your voting needs, which is called My Vote. So if you go to myvote.wi.gov, you can get all your voting information any hour of the day and immediately. So I'm going to share my screen. and go to myvote.com. I'm going to ask my team because I can't see my screen that I'm sharing and you all at the same time. So I'm going to ask my team to confirm that they can see the website, My Vote Wisconsin. All right, folks, I'm going to give you a quick tour so that you can feel comfortable when you have to come here. This is the website. As you can see, there's a section here for military and overseas voters. You can search by name and search by address, and then I'm going to walk you through the tabs. So on this left-hand side, my voter information. If you click on that, you can see a list of the elections you have voted in. This doesn't share that information with other people, like who you voted for and what election, but it gives you a sense to remind you of when you last voted. You can check your current registration. You can update your name and address. For the next election, you can request an absentee ballot. You can see who are your current elected officials, and you can track that absentee ballot. I'm not going to enter this information right now because obviously that's my personal information, and I won't be sharing that, and neither should you online. And then we're going to go to find my polling place. Now, this is important because the census, as a result of the census, there were some district boundaries that were changed, which could mean that your polling place is changed. And so if you haven't voted since the census, especially, this is a good exercise to do to make sure you're still in the same voting place or that you know where the new voting place is. So for the sake of a sample, I'm going to put in Sock's address. We're not open to the public yet, still from the pandemic, but you can still reach us in all the ways that you normally did during the pandemic, which was you could call us, which most of you did even before the pandemic. You could email us, you could contact us on social media, and then we'll let you know when the office is open back for your visits. So if I put the office address in, and if I happen to have lived here, it would my voting place would be Durfler School. And then as you can see, it gives you the address for the school, the hours that the poll is open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. today, and then our ward for this area. It also gives you a map so you can have directions. There's a couple of other tabs down here, but they're on the top, so I want to let you see them from the top so that we don't miss out on showing you each of them. So that's where you find your polling place. And then next, what's on the ballot for today? Some really important races and referendums. So I'm going to leave it with the address from here to see if I lived here, what would be on my ballot? What am I going to be looking at when I go into that booth and vote? And so for this area, and it might vary depending on where you live on the South Side, but we're all voting for a governor. And so governor and lieutenant governor, we're voting for an attorney general, for the secretary of state, for the state treasurer, for a U.S. senator, which is a critical seat, for a seat in Congress, that's a critical seat, state senator, that's important as well, a state assembly person, a sheriff, a county clerk of circuit court. And then here are the two referendums. What you need to know about referendums are, this is a way our elected officials get to gauge what's important to us on an issue. And here we have two examples of them wanting to hear from us. So the first one is, what do the people think about Milwaukee County firearms? And so I'm going to read it exactly as it's going to appear on your ballot so you're familiar with it. Should the Wisconsin legislature at the state prohibit the import, sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession of semi-automatic military-style firearms, whose prohibition is allowed under the Wisconsin and United States Constitution. So that's the first referendum. You could tell I've been doing this all day and my tongue's getting tired. But we're going to make it to the end today, to the finish line. So read it carefully and respond yes or no. The second referendum question is Milwaukee County is a Milwaukee County marijuana referendum. And it reads as follows. Do you favor allowing adults 21 years of age and older to engage in the personal use of marijuana while also regulating commercial marijuana related activities and imposing a tax on the sale of marijuana? And you would answer yes or no. So that's what you'll be seeing when you go into your voting booth today. It might vary a little bit on the senators or the state reps, depending on where you live. So I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to move on to the next segment. I want to invite you. I really like to say hello to folks who are with us. So if you're with us, just drop a quick hello in the comments section so I can give you a shout out. All right. Let's move on to our next promotion. And now for this next portion, that was all the intro portion. Now we're going to be sharing an engagement promotion for you to get involved with us, and then an interview from voting experts who are going to share critical voting information and resources for you. So here goes the next promo. We did the post-pandemic survey, and now we're doing an invitation for you to partner with us by becoming a SOC Block ambassador. Our campaign is called 30+2 with you. As many of you all experienced during the pandemic, you couldn't celebrate milestones, whether those were weddings or anniversaries or babies, etc., holidays. And we had that same experience during the pandemic. SOC turned 30, but we couldn't celebrate. And so we're doing that now with the 30+2 because we're ending our 32nd year of service. And as I said earlier, entering our 33rd year. And so our 30+2 and you campaign is asking for you to be willing to be the ambassador to your block. And we're going to share that promo right now. All right, folks, we're ready for our second opportunity for you to engage with us. You earlier, if you were with us earlier, you heard about our survey regarding the post-pandemic survey, asking you what your dreams and needs are as we set our plans for the next couple of years. And if you're just joining us now, you can go back in the comments for the forum and you should be able to see the link and the QR code for that. If not, I'm also going to ask the folks who are on comments to put the post-pandemic title in the comment, post-pandemic survey, put the link for the post-pandemic survey and the QR code again while we move on to the next opportunity. We, like many of you, were not able to celebrate milestones during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, SOC turned 30. 30 years of service during the pandemic. And now it's been a couple of years. So we're ending our 30 plus 2 more years, our 32nd anniversary. SOC happens to be the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on the South Side. And we're very proud of that legacy. But we feel the responsibility to continue our mission even more in these times. And so because we weren't able to celebrate, we launched the campaign this year to celebrate our anniversary with an engagement opportunity. So the campaign is called 30+2 with you. And what we're doing is recruiting block ambassadors. The block ambassadors are going to make sure that the people just on their block know of information, resources, and action opportunities by going door to door and distributing materials when there are big things happening or a new housing resource comes out, when we have our major events, when we do cleanups. And so if you're willing to be an ambassador for your block and just give out information to your neighbors, leaving it at their door, and also if you're willing to just listen to and pay attention to what your neighbors are needing. For instance, they might say, We always have problems with the city not cleaning our street, or we don't get our recycling picked up on time, or we're concerned about the crime in this area, or we heard there's a promotion to get, cameras, ring cameras, etc. Then the ambassador communicates that on behalf of their neighbors to SOC, and we can all work together to address our dreams and our needs. And so we have a registration, and you'll see a link to the registration and a QR code. And again, I'll be repeating this all day because I know I had troubles the first time I learned how to use a QR code. It's a little square that has all kinds of little black and white designs on it. And if you pull up your camera to it, it'll pop up like a yellow button, a link, and you can click on it and it takes you to wherever the address of that link is. So you'll be able to fill out the registration there. And I want to remind you that we have 4 of these opportunities throughout the day, and it has to be completed today. And if you complete it today, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card. And you have 4 opportunities to do that today, which is $200. And then at the end of the forum, you'll be asked to engage with us on social media, and we are doing drawings for a $25 gift card if you do those things later today. And so altogether, it's $275 of gift cards we're giving out today, and I'm sure you would really appreciate a little help for life today or some holiday spending monies. So please do fill that out, and we'll be in contact with you. The 30 plus 2NU has also benefits. Any major event or activity we do, those people who've been faithfully serving as ambassadors will be able to attend many of our events for free. And so we'll be meeting once a quarter in person. We'll be meeting monthly, virtually. And then we have our conference and our Legacy Retro Ball, and you'll get free entrance into that if you were faithful with your ambassador role. So it's a give and get situation we invite you to join us in. So that slide is going to come up, and please do that right away. None of our engagement opportunities take more than 5 minutes today. So you can do that immediately, or you can save those things and make sure you get them in by midnight today. Thanks, folks, for sticking it out with us here. We're going to move on to our next portion, which is an interview with Jonathan Zuniga from who's the Election Operations and Training Manager at the Milwaukee Election Commission. And he's going to talk to us about there aren't drop boxes for this election, redistricting, voter ID, voter registration, and voter protection.
All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is the Elections Operations and Training Manager of the Milwaukee Elections Commission, Jonathan Zuniga. Welcome, Jonathan. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role as Elections Operations and Training Manager is.
Thank you, Jinx. Yeah, my name is Jonathan Zuniga. I work at the Election Commission, and I oversee all of the election day voting, so all 180 polling locations, poll workers, and their training, the supplies and equipment that goes all out to the sites, and to make today's election happen.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. And so going into voting, can you go into details about absentee voting, like how that goes on and what the process would look like?
Well, today, if anyone still has their absentee ballot at home, they request it, and you are not sure what to do with it, you really have 2 options. If you have voted your ballot, get a witness to sign your envelope, and you can return that absentee ballot to our central count location, the Wisconsin Center, on Bell Phillips and Wisconsin Avenue. If you don't want to return the absentee ballot, okay, you can go to your regular polling site and vote as a regular voter there. So just make sure to take your photo ID And before heading out, go to myvote.wi.gov to make sure you are going to the correct polling location.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that information. And for the address, we'll put those in the comments as well. And is there anything you'd like to add about voter identification or voter registration? Anything the community should know about there?
Well, one, if you are already a registered voter, like I mentioned before, please make sure that before you head out to the polls, you check that you are going to your designated polling site. So just go to myvote.wi.gov. Just to double check, there's been redistricting and some of the wards and polling places changed. So it's always good to double check before heading out. And then two, if you are already a registered voter, make sure to take your photo ID. And that can be most commonly your Wisconsin ID or driver's license. But if you lost that or if you don't have one, you can also use your passport, a Wisconsin college ID. You can use, if you're in the military, your military ID or veterans ID, a Wisconsin tribe ID. So there's a couple of other options that you can use as well. But make sure you take that form of acceptable photo ID. And if you moved within, in the last, since the last time you voted, if you legally changed your name and you want to register, or you're just turning 18 and you are a new voter, today in Wisconsin, you can register today on election day at your designated polling place. So again, just make sure you go to your correct polling place, take your photo ID, and take a proof of residence document. So that could be, again, your Wisconsin driver's license or ID with your address, with your current address. But your proof of residence can be also a re-energies bill, bank or credit card statement. It could be a paycheck stub, or any letter of any government agency, whether it's Social Security, Medicare, any government department at the city, county, or federal level that has your name and your current address. You can also use that as a proof of residence document.
All right, perfect. Very helpful. And then if people have any further questions, is there a resource or a place that they can go to find more information?
Yes, you can, again, myvote.wi.gov. You can check your polling place. You can see what's on the ballot. You can also just check your registration status if you're not sure if you're registered at your current address. If you want to talk to someone, give us a call, 414-286-3491. And we have English and Spanish speakers here staffing those phone calls and can answer your questions and provide any assistance that people may need.
All right. Well, thank you for the great information. That, of course, helps our neighbors have the resources to stay in the loop and make informed decisions. We at South appreciate everyone watching this, and we want to thank you, Jonathan, for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, everybody have a good night. I hope everyone who is eligible to vote remembers to vote. And have a good night.
Thank you, Jonathan and Jinx. You did a great job. We're going to invite you now to partner with us in a different way. So we asked you to fill out the post-pandemic survey. We asked you to be an ambassador for your block. And now we're putting together our 2023 strategic action session team. And so we're going to share that opportunity with you now and hope you join us in it. All right, folks, we're on our third opportunity during the Vote-A-Thon for you to engage with us. And what's great about those opportunities is every time you engage in one of them, you complete that task, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card for a drawing to win a $50 gift card. And there are 4 surveys or engagement opportunities that there are $50 gift cards. And then at the end, we have 3 social media platforms we invite you to follow us on, and that could enters you into win $25 gift cards for each of those. And so this next one, we talked earlier about the post-pandemic survey. And so I'll ask the folks who are putting the comments to please put the link to the post-pandemic survey and QR code up in the comments. So if you missed that earlier, that's asking you what your dreams and needs are now as we set the plans for SOC for the next couple of years. And then at the last forum update, we shared that you can sign up to be an ambassador for our 32 plus you campaign, where you agree to be the ambassador for your block, sharing information, dropping off flyers, etc. on your block, doing a cleanup for your block once a year, listening to your neighbors and their concerns and relaying those to SOC. That'll include a monthly meeting, a quarterly in-person event, and free entrance into all of our major activities like our conference and our retro ball if you've executed your ambassador role successfully for the period of time. And so right now what we're doing is all next year in 2023, we are putting together a SOC strategic action session, a group of folks from across the Southside District to come together to address whatever issues are super important that come from that survey and other needs that arise in the community. For instance, this year we did a round of SAS, the SOC strategic action sessions around the affordable housing crisis. And so we invite you to participate. We're recruiting a dozen folks. So if you apply, we hope that we will be able to put together a solid group who are committed to meeting once a month. And usually what happens is we ask folks, what do you think about this problem? What's causing this problem? And then what are your solutions to the problem? Because we believe the people who have lived the experience are in the best position to identify what the real problems are and what the solutions are. And then once we do a round of voice for our neighbors, then we add, well, this is some data that has been published around or shared around this issue. And this is some information from subject matter experts. And then you all will review your answers in light of that data and that information from the subject matter experts. And then we finalize recommendations and we work as a group to take any action that the group is interested in taking together. If you're part of that group, you will get a $50 stipend every time you complete a session throughout the year. And so that's up to $600 in a year. Why? Because professionals get paid. We all get paid for doing our work, and we value your time as well. And so we want to make sure that while you're deciding how to meet your family's needs, that you don't eliminate coming to the action sessions because you have to meet, how do you pay rent, and how do you purchase food, and how do you look for a new job, and how do you take care of your household and work with and do homework with your kids and take care of them, that it has a benefit for coming that will bless you and or your family. And so please fill out the SAS registration form. It only takes a couple of minutes. You'll see a link shared on a slide in a couple of seconds with a QR code. And again, I'm explaining what the QR codes are over and over today, every round that we do, just in case we have new people who joined us. So it's a little square that has all these designs in it. And you take your camera and you put it on photo and you put it over the QR code. And then in the picture of your, on the screen on your camera, it'll pop up a little yellow button that is the link to the survey. So you can click on the link in the comments bar. You can copy the link that appears on the screen, or you can go to it with the QR code. And again, if you do that, you'll be entered into a drawing to win $50. You have to do it today before the end of the day, by midnight. And then we're going to do the drawing tomorrow on Facebook Live. So pay attention and join us on Facebook to see if you were the person who won any of the drawings that we've done today. So go ahead and do that now, and we'll pull up the slide for you. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next interview. You'll be hearing from Anita Johnson, Outreach and Training Coordinator with Souls to the Polls. And she'll be talking about how you can get rides to your polling location.
All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is Anita Johnson from Souls to the Polls. Welcome, Anita. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role is at Souls to the Polls.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this interview. I am Anita Johnson. I work with Souls to the Polls. I am their outreach and training coordinator. I have been with Souls to the Polls since its inception. So I've been through a lot of different elections. And I'm very excited about this one and hoping that we can get more and more people out to vote, which is a challenge. But, that's life. So we're going to do our best to make sure people get to the polls to vote.
All right, definitely, definitely. We appreciate all the work because it can be a challenge. So now let me get into some questions so people get to know what Souls to the Polls is. What resources does Souls to the Polls, what are they focusing on for the general fall elections that are coming up?
Well, usually we want everybody to get to the polls to vote, but we usually focus on the churches. And we go into the churches and we educate the parishioners in the churches about any changes in the voting laws that would affect them when they go to the polls to vote, so they know what is expected of them when they get to the polls to vote. We also offer rides to the polls for those who don't have a car or they're handicapped. We offer rides to the polls to help people get to the polls. But my thing is the training to make sure people know what's expected of them when they vote. And that's with the absentee ballots and when you go to the polls to vote.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, it's very important to get educated on, how to vote and what you're voting for and how to do it.
Right.
All right. And then is there any additional resources that are available for people when they get in contact with someone from Souls to the Polls?
Sure. You know what? People can always call me, and I don't mind putting my number out there. I'm at 414-899-3386. So if anybody has any questions about voter registration, absentee ballots, what to expect when they get to the polls to vote, or photo ID, I will do my best to answer those questions. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out the correct answer and get back to you. We also offer rides to the polls for early vote, but we will not be starting the early ride program until October 31st. And this is the telephone number you can call, 414-742-1060. Early vote starts today, October 25th until November 5th. And we also are offering rides on November 8th.
All right, awesome. All right. Very, very essential. Yes, very important.
If you have any other questions or you want to go to our website, that's www.soulstothepollswisconsin.org.
All right. And then do you think you could spell that? There's a few variations of souls to souls, the word. Is it
Okay, it is souls, SOULS to the POLLSWI.org.
Right.
And it's a plethora of information there as well. But I'm always happy to answer any questions that anybody might have about voting.
All right, perfect. Thank you for being a resource to the people. We all appreciate your work very much. And is there any additional information you'd like to give to the public? Any reminders?
If you're going to register to vote at the polls, make sure you bring proof of residence. You must live in your residence for 28 days. If you have not lived in your residence for 28 days, go back to your old polling site and vote. But please change your address. You can go to www.myvote.wi.www.myvote.wi vote.wi. And you can change your address. You can find out where your polling site is if you're unsure of that. So if you're going to register at the polls, make sure you bring proof of residence, and that can be a bill, a lease, a bank statement. Make sure you take your ID to the poll, and that can be a Wisconsin driver's license, state ID, a passport, Indian card, a veteran's card. There's a plethora of things that you can take as photo IDs when you go to the polls to vote.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that information. Again, very helpful, very useful. It can be a whole task to vote if you don't have the right information. So we're glad there's, people like you and Souls to the Polls to help out. And all right, that concludes today's questionnaire interview. We appreciate you having been with us today, Anita. I hope you and everyone watching this has a good night, and everyone that's eligible remembers to vote. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita and Jinx. The next promotion we're going to do is to ask for your feedback on this Vote-A-Thon so that we know how to better serve you. So we're going to go ahead and share that with you now. Okay, folks, we're on our number 4 opportunity for today's Vote-A-Thon to have you engage with us in some way. We've done 3 opportunities throughout the forum. Every time you have participated in one of those, you were entered into a drawing to receive $50. And so a total of 200, now 4 opportunities are available to be entered into, in addition to the social media, which will be the next promo we do. And you'll have opportunities to win $25 gift cards for each of our social media platforms, and I'll explain that in the next session. The one we're doing today is the survey of our forum. When the forum ends today, we'd like to know what was really useful for you and what we could do better. Because in essence, we're doing this to support your information needs and your ability to vote, to understand everything about voting and answer your last minute questions. And so we'd like you to fill out the forum survey. You'll see a slide appear shortly here on the camera, and it'll share a link and it'll share a QR code. And I've been sharing all day how to use a QR code, because the first time I did it, I was really confused. So what you do is there's a little box that appears with a bunch of squiggly designs on it. You take your camera and you put it over the QR code. You wait a little bit. It pops up a little yellow oval hotspot that if you click, it'll take you to the survey, or you can click on the link. The staff right now, I'm going to ask them to put up the former surveys in case you missed them. The first one was the post-pandemic survey. We want to know what your dreams and needs are as we make plans for SOC for the next couple of years. So we'll put the title post-pandemic survey in the comments. It'll have a link and the QR code for you to do that survey. None of these surveys take more than 5 minutes, so it's really a good use of your time, especially in light of being able to potentially win some cash to meet your family's needs or to have extra holiday spending money. And then the next one I'm going to ask the staff to put up again is the 30 plus 2 with you campaign link and QR code. And those of you who are willing to be an ambassador for your block, we ask you to fill out that survey. That means you're going to be handing out information and resources to your neighbors. You're willing to organize a cleanup on your block once a year, and you'll be listening to what your neighbors' needs are, and you can communicate that with us. We'll be meeting once a month virtually. We'll be meeting once a quarter in person and or virtually for some of those people who are homebound. And then the former one we shared, the third one, was if you're interested in joining us to form a monthly group that addresses issues in the community. We literally get together and talk about a topic and say, what do you think the real problems are? We've done COVID in the past. We've done affordable housing crisis. We've done hate crimes. We've done relationships relations with the police department. And so you'll come together and say, this is what we think the problems are with these issues. These are some of the solutions. And then we share some data on the issue and some information from subject matter experts. And then you consider that while you finalize your plans. And then we decide what actions we take. Sometimes it's just sending recommendations to a certain body. Other times it's really digging in and making sure that the solutions are listened to and implemented by whatever officials are in charge of that. And so this one is the forum survey. And so I'll ask now for the slide for the forum survey to come up. You'll see the link, the QR code, and you can fill it out. Make sure you do all of these by the end of the day in order to be entered into the drawing. And then tomorrow, we'll post the winners on Facebook Live. Go ahead and pull up that slide, please. All right, folks, we're gonna hear from now Nick Ramos. He is the voter ID coalition coordinator for VoteRiders, and he's gonna talk to us on how to get help from beginning to end at no charge for you for your voter ID.
All right, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx, and I am a program assistant here at Southside Organizing Center, also called SOC. Today's guest is Nick from VoteRiders. Welcome, Nick. Please introduce yourself and let our neighbors know what your role with VoteRiders is.
Well, thank you, Jinx. My name is Nick Ramos. I am the Wisconsin Voter ID Coalition Coordinator with VoteRiders. And so with that position, I run the organization statewide, and we help people get vital documents like IDs, birth certificates, and social security cards.
All right, awesome. So with general elections coming up on November 8th, do you think you could go into a little bit more of what VoteRiders does for the community?
Absolutely. So in my role, I work with a variety of partners across the entire state that do really good work within the communities that they live and that they serve in. And we try and identify those individuals who may lack a valid issued government ID or the vital documents that one would need to be able to acquire that ID. And in Wisconsin, typically, that would be a birth certificate or a social security card. And so what we constantly try and do is we try and get information out to those communities and let them know that there's this free resource. VoteRiders pays for the documents that one would need to be able to get an ID. So if you needed a birth certificate, we'll pay for it. If you need to get an ID, we'll pay for it. Social security cards are free, but a lot of times we have issues like trying to get people verified on the Social Security website. So what we'll do is we'll pay for the transportation one would need to go to the Social Security office that's close to them, and then be able to get that Social Security card. And so it's a lot of community events, a lot of programming around, neighborhoods across the state of Wisconsin to let people know so that they can not feel like there's a ton of barriers when it comes to like getting those documents.
Yeah, no, yeah, it can get pretty complicated for voting for the average person who, it's paperwork in places and you got to get the right timing. And so, no, yeah, it's a great resource to know. And then, so let's say someone does have to get, a birth certificate to vote. Where could they go or who could they get in contact with for that?
Absolutely. So if you have access to the internet, you can go on to our website, which is voteriders.org. If you have access to a phone, you can call our hotline, which is, you can call it 24 hours a day. And especially during election time, I'm almost positive right now that they're taking live phone calls. So that number is 844-338-8743. And then you can also email us. We have an email. It's info@voteriders.org. And then another thing I forgot to mention, on Facebook, we have a chat bot. So if you go and search VoteRiders, you can literally go onto our page, and then a chat bot will appear, and it'll ask if you want us to speak to you in English or in Spanish, and then if you need ID help, and then you'll get connected with a live, breathing human being that will work with you on acquiring whatever documents you need.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you for all that information. That's very, very vital, especially seeing as things somehow get complicated as the years go by for voting. But yeah, we'll plug in all those numbers in the comments as well. So yeah, thank you for all that information. Very good for the community to have. Is there any last reminders you want to give to the people?
Yeah, no, whenever you're seeing this, I encourage everybody, whether you decide you want to vote in this election or you decide you want to vote in a future election, to, come up with that plan. And, if you need help, like acquiring documents, or you just want information about polling location, registration, any of that stuff, you can contact VoteRiders. We're not married to any election. We want to help you acquire these documents, not only for voting, but also for jobs, for housing. So please, whether it's now or whether it's down the road, just know that you have an organization that will work with you wherever you're at in the process and help you get the documents you need.
All right, perfect. Thank you for all the information. And all right, well, we appreciate you for being here with us today, Nick. We hope you and everyone watching this has a good night. I hope everyone who is eligible remembers to vote, and everyone goes out there and uses the resources that they have. All right, have a good day.
Hey, you too.
Thank you, Nick and Jinx. Again, just critically important information about voting all day long. We are going to promote now our last opportunity for you to engage with us and enter drawings. So let's share the promotion about following us on our social media. All right, folks, our Vote-A-Thon for the fall 2020 general election, is coming to an end. Thank you for spending your day with us. We have hopes that the information and resources and the questions we answered for you today helped you to vote today. Your vote is your voice, and we want to make sure everyone on the South Side has an opportunity to express their voice through their vote. And as you've heard me say many a times, if the South Side votes, we have a huge impact in elections here in the city and the county especially, and even on the state level and the federal level, of course, when those opportunities come up. Our last engagement opportunity is here now. And so I want to review the different opportunities we've had through the day and ask you, if you didn't get a chance to do them, you want to do them. Why? One, it either is lifting your voice or giving you an opportunity to impact your life and your community in collaboration with us. The other reason is because every time you fill out a survey or you're willing to serve or get involved and fill out a registration, you're entered into a drawing for a $50 gift card, which will come in really handy for either your family's needs right now or for extra holiday shopping money as we enter the holiday season. I'm sorry for those of you who have to hear this for the 5th time today, but in case people are joining us for the first time, I want to share that a QR code is a little box with a design in it. And if you take your camera and put it up against the QR code, it'll pop up oval. In mine, it's yellow. I'm assuming it's yellow for everyone else, but I don't know. It'll pop up a little oval button, and if you press it, it takes you to the survey. And so you can use the link. You can write the link on the slide that's going to pop up. You can click the link in the comments, or you can use a QR code. And if it's all happening a little too fast for you, we'll be posting this video up on our Facebook site, and you'll be able to go back to it. And or you can take pictures of it, the QR codes, and do them later as well. And so this last opportunity is really 3 opportunities in one. We want to stay connected with you, so we're asking you to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. For each one of those that you follow, you'll be entered into a drawing for $25. So what we'll do is, at the end of today, you got to do all of this work, but I'm telling you, every one of those is really short. You'll do that today by midnight, and then tomorrow we're going to post all the winners on our Facebook Live, so you'll want to pay attention to that. So what we'll do is we'll see who followed us new on Facebook, who followed us new on Instagram, who followed us on LinkedIn, connected on LinkedIn. And from those people, we'll make a drawing and then pull names. So go ahead and do that. That's a really quick win. That's even easier than filling out a short survey or short registration. And so we invite you for all of those opportunities. If you entered all of them, now don't register if you really don't want to do an activity, but if you're interested in doing that, we really do invite you. The surveys, please do. We have the post-pandemic survey, the 30+2 and you opportunity. If you're willing to serve as a Block ambassador, think about that and join us if you're really interested. And then our SOC strategic action session group, that's going to meet once a month, and we invite you to join that. And then fill out the forum survey, because we want to know what's working for you on these forums and what we need to change to better serve you. And then we want you to follow us on social media. So that's an opportunity altogether for $275 in gift cards for you to win. So please do engage in those. And we hope that we served you well today during this election day, and that you voted to have your voice heard, and that you stay connected with us to continue to make sure that you're represented in all that happens in our community. Thank you, and have a blessed evening. All right, folks. Here we have the ways you can follow us with social media. And we're closing out this edition of the Vote-A-Thon, and just want to, as we close, encourage you to take action with us in 2 ways. One is, above all things, to make sure that you vote, because your vote is your voice. And second of all, to engage in all those opportunities I mentioned. And as we close, I want to remind you, we're going to be with you 2 more times today. We're going to be back at 4 o'clock and at 6 o'clock, and we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Has this live forum been informative and useful to you? What part of the forum could be improved or changed to make it better? Please take our quick survey that's located in our comments section so that we can get your feedback on how to keep this live forum going for residents. Thanks for tuning in.